Well, Alicia, as I'm sure you and Keenan remember, we covered a lot of protests here right outside Detroit Police Headquarters over the summer, most of them largely organized by a group called Detroit Will Breathe. That group has been taking to the streets now for 328 days. The group formed shortly after the death of George Floyd back in May of 2020, and for them, yesterday was a day of recognition.
I feel like this is an important first step, but there's still a long road to justice.
They gathered by the dozens at the corner of Michigan and 3rd to hear Judge Peter Cahill read the jurors' verdict in the case against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
Unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
Guilty on all 3 counts. A start, but not a victory for protesters like Tristan Taylor with Detroit Will Breathe.
I thought that this was an expression of the power of the movement, and that if we're going to get justice, we're going to have to learn that we have to respond every time there's an incidence of police brutality.
Detroit Will Breathe took to the streets beginning last spring to demand accountability for all 4 officers involved in Floyd's death. But yesterday, signs like these, with names like Dante Wright, a reminder that their movement is about so many others, too.
Where's the guilty verdict for the person who killed Breonna Taylor? Where's the guilty verdict for the person who killed Eric Garner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Faith leaders, including the head of Detroit's NAACP chapter, saying the work has just begun.
We can now come to a point where we can do something about this problem that is tearing our country apart. We can do better than this. African Americans are simply calling for justice. We are not mad at police, we're mad at bad police.
Detroit Police Chief James Craig also reacting to yesterday's historic verdict. Chief Craig called Floyd's death murder back when it happened last May. Floyd's killing, he says, not a reflection of the vast majority of officers.
Still a stain on our profession. We had to deal with weeks and months of at times violent protests, but at the end of the day, the right thing was done. I applaud the courageousness of those jurors.
Powerful words there from Detroit Police Chief James Craig. Now, the city of Detroit and really the entire world was on edge yesterday awaiting that verdict. Detroit police, they were prepared for possible unrest regardless of which way the verdict went. Thankfully, we did not see any of that yesterday, but based on what we heard from protesters here yesterday and those signs, yesterday was seen as a one step forward, not a swift victory. Keenan, Alicia, we're live this morning outside Detroit Police Headquarters downtown.